Hey guys, Zako Otaku here, and I want to tell you about my favorite super weird Japanese drama series that's available on Netflix right now. But before I start, I want to tell you a little bit about Japanese sweets. Maybe you've seen those super fluffy Japanese pancakes, or you've seen those really delicately designed Japanese desserts. Well, actually there are two camps of Japanese sweets. There's wagashi, which is the traditional Japanese sweets, usually made with sticky, sweet rice cake called mochi, often also made with anko, which is a kind of red bean pastes, and also often made with matcha as well, which is a kind of super bitter green tea. Those are kind of like the key ingredients in a lot of wagashi. The other type of Japanese sweet is called yogashi, and that's like your foreign foods, like your pancakes, any kind of cake, or any kind of non-Japanese sweet, usually with wheat or flour as the base ingredient, as opposed to rice, which wagashi is made from. But the thing is, wagashi are these, of course, really delicate, really beautifully tasting traditional Japanese sweets, but yogashi isn't really as Western as you might think. In fact, a lot of the desserts are taken from Western influence, but made anew in Japanese style. For example, those super fluffy pancakes, but almost every dessert gets a new breath of life when it's reintroduced into Japan. And the versions of popular sweets may look or have the same name as a lot of Western food, but actually taste very different or have a different texture or have some unique quality that's only available in Japan. While I would recommend, if you're coming to Japan, definitely first try wagashi because it is very unique to Japan. These kind of mochi-based red bean pastes, sweets that are often those delicately designed ones that you see in pictures. I wouldn't discount yogashi either, because some of their sweets are Western, but still uniquely Japanese. I think it's probably one of the coolest things about Japanese life is the sweets culture. A lot of cafes are specifically made just to enjoy the sweets. And the really unique point about the sweets, of course, they taste good, but they're usually very beautiful in presentation. That's a really key element to a lot of these sweets, both the Japanese style wagashi and the foreign style yogashi, is the presentation is key. That's why when you see a lot of anime, the desserts are always so beautifully rendered and so beautifully animated because they're trying to capture something that is really true to life here in Japan. You know, Instabuy, which is Instagrammable in English, is a recent trend for food, but I think the presentation of beautiful food has always been a feature in Japan. Long before Instagram, long before social networking, Japan was perfecting the art of beautiful food. The only thing was, there was nothing to do with it besides eat it once it was made. So I think it's kind of cool now we can preserve these almost works of art in sweet form by taking photos of them and putting them on Instagram. I know a lot of people complain that taking a photo of food is kind of a waste and you should just be enjoying the taste of the food. But when the food looks this good, you don't want to eat it sometimes. So taking that picture makes you feel less guilty about eating this absolutely beautiful, almost work of art in food form. And that's especially true, of course, for sushi, but even more so, I believe, for Japanese sweets. That leads me to my favorite drama series, which is called Kantaro, the Sweet Tooth Salaryman. And this show is the weirdest show in the whole world that just happens to be about Japanese sweets. So it follows this main character whose name is Kantaro, and he is a publishing company worker, kind of like a door-to-door salesman, but for bookshops. He's very straight-laced and he's very serious, and everybody kind of takes him very seriously, and he appears to take his work very seriously. But in fact, he's only good at his job so that he has extra time in his day to go to sweets shops while he's on the clock. Most of the show is him trying to coordinate between his work schedule and skipping work to go to these sweets shop and trying to find a balance. And the really cool thing is, the sweets shops that he visits in this show are real sweets shops that you can in fact visit in Tokyo, some of which I have visited and some of which I've ordered sweets from online. So that's a really cool, neat extra point. So it kind of has a mix between a travel series about sweets using real shops and also a comedy series about this guy who's skipping work all the time to go eat sweets. And the really interesting point is they often have like kind of short interviews with the staff of the sweets shops and also video footage of how the sweets get made. So you get to learn a little bit about Japanese sweets culture as well while you're watching this series. And all of that footage is real. These are real footage of real sweets shops of the sweets really being made, which I think is just absolutely awesome. The other really cool part about this show, which I've been kind of leading to in this whole video, is it's buck wild. It's super, super weird. So the thing about Kantaro is he eats the sweets in these shops, and when he eats the sweets, he hallucinates. And some of these hallucination scenes are just splendid. Like, they're so good at capturing the emotion or the feeling of eating these sweets that even if you've never tried any of these sweets before, you can kind of get an idea for what it would taste like from these hallucinatory visions that Kantaro has. It's that good. In fact, since watching Kantaro, now when I eat certain Japanese sweets and also foreign sweets, if they're the Japanese version, I still imagine the scenes from this show. They've left that much of an impact on me. Another really cool thing is the performance from the main actor. His name is Onoe Matsuya, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. And he's traditionally a kabuki actor. In fact, I saw him in the kabuki version of the Ghibli film Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, in which he played one of the characters. And he was kind of a comic relief character in that too. And he is just so funny. The faces he pulls when he eats food, they're questionable and a little bit suspect. And if you were watching this and someone walked in the room, they might wonder what kind of show you're watching. His face is so emotive and so cool and so weird that he kind of carries the whole series. This is based on a manga, which unfortunately I haven't had the chance yet to read, but apparently it's quite similar in tone. But I can't imagine any series or any adaptation of this manga, or even the manga itself, without this actor. He kind of makes the show. And in fact, when I see him in commercials now, I don't call him Onoe Matsuya, I call him Kantaro. Even when I saw him in Nausicaa, I'm like, it's Kantaro. He definitely embodies this very zany, very straight-laced at work character who then lets loose when he eats sweets. There's this moment when you bite into a Japanese sweet and you just feel the weight come off your shoulders. It's just, there's very few things. I think a beer after work and a good Japanese sweet in your lunch break are two of the best feelings that you can have in Japan. He really captures that energy. Of course, it's a much more stylized version of that feeling, but that kind of relaxation that you get from eating Japanese sweets, which I can't really articulate, they're just so good, and he just brings it in this show. And the show, of course, the best part is it's funny as hell. This show is so funny and so weird and so animated that you'll binge watch it in a weekend, and then you'll be wishing you were in Japan able to eat these incredible sweets, because man, they make them look good too. Yeah, I wish I could make food look as good as this show makes food look. Oh, it's so good. So I hope this isn't a little too weird, and this video kind of introduced you to some new ideas. This is a kind of short one. I might be putting some footage over the top, I might not, I'll see how it looks. But I'm just trying to get a feel for what kind of videos you guys want. So please let me know down in the comments, leave a like, hit that subscribe button, let me know what you want to see more of. Whatever you want, I'm here to do it. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one, and hopefully you can try some Japanese sweets soon. Peace.